They filled our plates. They warmed our kitchens. They brought families together at tables worn smooth from years of elbows, laughter, and grace before meals. But somewhere along the way, they disappeared. The meals our parents and grandparents made, not because they were trendy, but because they were right. Right for the time. Right for the budget. Right for what you needed at the end of a long day. We didn't call it comfort food back then. It was just dinner. But what did we lose when we stopped cooking these meals? When we traded cast iron for cardboard boxes? Let's go back to the dishes that raised us, that kept us warm, and that tasted like home. Tuna twist casserole. It started with a box, one of those long-gone seasoning mixes from the pantry shelf. You stirred it into canned tuna and pasta. Maybe added a little cheese, maybe didn't. And somehow, dinner happened. It smelled like something special, even though you knew the ingredients by heart. Kids asked for seconds. Moms called it a miracle. And just like that, tuna wasn't a sacrifice. It was a celebration. Then one day, the boxes were gone. No explanation, no replacement, just a whisper of flavor left behind in the memories of a simpler kitchen. Second, Tang marinated chicken. Tang, the orange drink mix made for astronauts, had no business being near a roasting pan. And yet, someone somewhere asked, what if we tried it on chicken? The answer? Magic. Soy sauce, garlic, oil, and a scoop of that grainy orange powder made a sticky glaze that caramelized perfectly in the oven. It wasn't gourmet. It wasn't sensible. It was delicious. Barbecues smelled brighter. Potlucks had a secret. And no one ever guessed the marinade came from the same jar as your breakfast drink. 3. Hamburger boats. A hoagie roll, hollowed out and stuffed with ground beef, onions, ketchup, and cheese. Baked until the top bubbled like a volcano. You didn't need utensils, just 2 hands and a napkin you'd regret not using. They were messy. They were glorious. They were the weeknight answer to every hungry teenager's prayer. Frozen pizza replaced them, but nothing has ever really hit quite the same. 4. Frosted meatloaf. It looked like a birthday cake, but it was beef. A dense meatloaf, frosted with mashed potatoes, sometimes piped with green peas or ketchup rosettes. You sliced it like dessert and hoped it held together. It was absurd. It was festive. It was frugal theater. Eventually, we went back to plain rectangles and gravy. But there was a time when even meatloaf got dressed up for dinner. 5. Deviled ham log. A can of Underwood deviled ham, a block of cream cheese, Worcestershire sauce, a few chopped pickles or pimentos rolled into a perfect pink cylinder, coated in chopped nuts or parsley sliced with a butter knife, served with Ritz crackers. It was a cocktail our hero. No one asked what was in it. No one needed to. It vanished before anyone got the chance. 6. Porcupine meatballs. The secret, raw rice. You'd mix it into ground beef, form into meatballs, and simmer low and slow in tomato sauce. The rice would swell and poke out like little spines, hence the name. It was hearty, it was thrifty, it was food with a sense of humor and a purpose. Today, we make them with breadcrumbs, but something about those chewy, spiky little meatballs still feels like home. 7. Polynesian meatballs, pineapple, bell peppers, soy sauce, and meatballs that soaked up every drop of sweet and sour sauce like tiny tropical sponges. Inspired by the 1970s tiki craze, this was dinner that felt like vacation. Even if you never left your block, They were served on rice or with toothpicks. Kids loved them. Adults quietly went back for seconds, and then they disappeared, replaced by takeout and teriyaki. But some flavors never really leave your heart. 8. Tomato aspic. It jiggled, it wobbled, it had vegetables suspended in it like fossils from another time. Tomato aspic, a savory gelatin mold made with tomato juice, broth, and unflavored gelatin, packed with canned peas, celery, and green beans. You didn't know whether to eat it or applaud it, but it was always there at luncheons, potlucks, weddings, a crown jewel of the buffet table. Today, we laugh, but once upon a time, it was elegance, and maybe, in its strange dignity, it still is. 9. Corn chip taco bake. It started with a can of beans, a pound of ground beef, and whatever spice packet was hiding in the drawer. You layered it in a pan, covered it with shredded cheddar, then, the best part, crushed corn chips all over the top. Crunchy, salty, chaotic in the best way. It was dinner that felt like a celebration. The kind of thing you made on a Tuesday and suddenly the week didn't feel so long. 10. Stuffed frankfurters. You took a hot dog, sliced it down the middle, stuffed it with cheese and onions, wrapped it in bacon, and baked it until it sizzled. It was bold. It was brilliant. It was dinner in 20 minutes that still felt like a win. Today, we throw hot dogs on the grill. But this was crafted. 11. Shrimp wiggle. Yes, you heard it right. Shrimp wiggle was a creamy white sauce made with shrimp and green peas poured over toast or rice. It wiggled, it jiggled, but it fed families well after World War II. Born from military cookbooks and wartime rationing, it was clever and comforting. You didn't need fresh seafood or fancy ingredients. Just a can, a saucepan, and love. These meals may not be on the covers of glossy magazines. They don't get viral TikToks or Michelin stars, but they mattered. They stretched grocery budgets. They filled lunch boxes. They fed tired parents and growing kids and made simple kitchens feel like the center of the universe. We lost them slowly, traded for speed, convenience, and newer tastes. But they live on in memories, in recipe cards with grease stains, in casserole dishes with scratches, and in the hearts of those who remember what dinner used to mean. So if any of these meals stirred something in you, a smell, a sound, a story, tell someone, make it again, write it down, because food only disappears if we forget it, and some flavors are too important to lose. Subscribe for more forgotten flavors and drop a comment if your family had a dish that deserves to be remembered.